So a couple weeks ago, I was talking with Mississippi Milsurp, Big Boy Rabbit, through email, and he said he was doing this collaboration with the Blind Sniper and a few other YouTubers that I'll name in a second, about guns for hunting cryptids or defending yourself against cryptids. And I was trying to think, how do I get into talking about this seriously, because I've never seen anything weird in the woods. I'm not really a believer in stuff like Bigfoot and werewolves and stuff. But I decided if a channel like Iraq Veteran 8888 can do videos on guns for hunting dinosaurs or guns for an alien invasion, guns for zombies, you know, I could get in and have fun with this and just have it be sort of a lighthearted, fun video. So I just kind of went from there. The other channels that are going to be doing this, the Blind Sniper, Joe Morgan, Arisaka Type99, Geary Gunderson, and Big Boy Rabbit from Mississippi Milsurp. I'm going to link to all their channels in the description of this video. And when I do see their videos, I will also put a link to their video instead of their channel. So I decided for my video, I live in Michigan, and there are a few Michigan cryptids, and I decided mine is going to be about guns for cryptid defense. And I decided I was going to choose 3 of the ones that are talked about around here in Michigan, and I'll leave stuff like the Wendigo and the Rake and whatnot to the other channels, because around here nobody's really talked about the Wendigo. So I'm going to go with number 1 would be the Michigan Dogman. And the Michigan Dogman is pretty much werewolf. And you know, a lot of videos say, well, you need silver bullets or stuff like that. My whole thing is I'm trying to think of these creatures as just huge fleshed animals, and what kind of gun would you hunt huge flesh animals with or defend yourself with? And, you know, something like grizzly sized or moose sized. So in my head, I'm just looking at this from that perspective of, okay, this is a big animal. What would you use to defend yourself with? So number 1, Michigan Dogman, pretty much a werewolf. Number 2, of course, Bigfoot. Number 3 is the Wahila, which is a giant white wolf, I guess said to be maybe a descendant or sightings of a dire wolf. And I guess mostly that has been seen in the UP. So those are the 3 I'm going to pick. And I got to thinking, okay, what guns would I use? And I decided, okay, well, what guns do I have that I would use instead of, I mean, because in this collaboration, we're allowed to pick guns that we don't even have. And I decided I'm going to keep it realistic, use what you have. So, number 1, I'm definitely going to have to take my M1 Garand. 8 rounds of 30-06 and a mild recoiling rifle, especially if you tune the gas system to some, you know, with some pretty serious hunting loads, you know, stuff like Federal Fusion or ballistic tip hollow points, you know, core bonded stuff like that. You tune the gas system of this thing with the Schuster adjustable gas plug, this thing is a sweet recoiling rifle. It's heavy enough that, you know, it takes the recoil just fine without tuning the gas system. But like I said, tuning this thing with some really good hunting loads, like 168 grain Hornady ELD match or the ELDX, or, you know, Federal Fusion stuff, or maybe just regular soft points. You can't argue with 8 rounds of 30-06. And these are unloaded. Everything I'm going to show you is unloaded. But like I said, there's a reason this rifle is as popular as it is. I know a lot of you were probably thinking, why don't you go with something more modern? Well, this is the biggest caliber that I have, and something that is something like a semi-automatic and not a bolt action, so fast follow-up shots. You get a fast reload with this thing. I don't have something like a SCAR 17. I don't have an AR-10. I don't have an M1A with a 20-round magazine. This is what I have for something in that category, just older. But you can reload one of these quick, and I think the thing people tend to forget about the Garand is the fact that when your clip ejects, you're locked open. There is no worry about having to get rid of an empty magazine. It's just you grab another one and you shove it home. So the reload is quick. And like I said, 8 rounds, 30-06 with a semi-auto, really nice sights. This will do some damage. I mean, people hunt grizzlies with .6, but it's all about shot placement. And I'm thinking to myself, well, what about something like Bigfoot? What if usually people, when they see Bigfoot, they're far away, but even when they're far away, they're huge. Well, this thing has got excellent sights to definitely hit something that size. But for my sake of the video, I'm talking about guns for defense. So what if one of these 3 that I've named gets a little too close to you? What would you use? And I'm thinking, well, this thing, tuned with a cast system, with some pretty wicked expanding bullets of some kind that have good penetration as well. You know, you're going to have mild recoil for really fast follow-up shots, a fast reload if you need it. So, yeah, this is my choice for that. I mean, something like Wahila, you know, the dire wolf-size animal, you know, or Bigfoot, or the Michigan Dogman, pretty much a werewolf. So that's my choice of rifle, and I don't know, I've probably put 1,000 rounds through this rifle already. No, I've never gotten Garand thumb. I'm so sick of that stupid, everyone talking about Garand thumb all the time. This one is a M1 Garand made by Springfield Armory in January of 1945. It's got a brand new Criterion barrel, new Orion 7 op rod spring, new hammer spring, new clip latch string. Like, this thing's been gone through. So I got a national match front sight on it, but not a national match rear sight. I just wanted a slightly thinner post in the front. But like I said, 30-06, classic. The ammo's everywhere. The clips for these things are only like $2 a piece. You know, and if you got something like a bandolier, you know, on your chest, or you actually get the belt, which I have one of those belts, but mine's made of like the 1950s first aid pouch. They work just fine. And yeah, like I said, you can't go wrong with an M1. There's a reason these things are popular. There's a reason these things were so revered and talked about World War II. This thing went against a bunch of guys with AK-47s. It shows in Reservoir in Korea, and the guy did quite the damage with just an M1. Used through Vietnam a little bit too. You just can't. You can't go wrong with an M1 Garand. You know, once you get to understand this rifle, how it works, if you have malfunctions and you don't understand how this thing works, it's easy. It's easy to fix those malfunctions. Although I think they're incredibly rare. Not unless you have something like a worn-out gas tube. So, all right, next gun. I was also thinking, well, if this probably would, the M1 would probably go well. Yeah, I can't talk. The M1 would probably go along with maybe if you were hunting something. Like I said, this is about use what you got, and that's what I have. So back to, what if one of these things got a little too close to you for comfort? What if it's just one of those guns that's like, get the hell away from me? And I can't help with go with a classic 12-gauge pump shotgun. This is a Maverick 88 with the Mossberg OEM heat shield on it, 7+1 capacity with the 2 3/4 inch shells. Now I've thought about this. Would I load slugs in this? Would I load double-aught buckshot? Would I load both? Would they be 2 3/4? Would they be 3-inch? Would it be a combination of both? That would be something to think about. I'm a big fan of buckshot, double-aught buck for shotguns. Like I said, this would be for if something just got too close. It's like double-aught buck, you pepper them. It's like, hey, you need to get away from me. If you want to get more serious, maybe throw some slugs in here as well. But nobody's going to argue with a pump shotgun, especially one of these with a long tube, 20-inch barrel, 8-round capacity, 7 I guess with the 3-inch shells. Yeah, that's pretty much straight to the point. Just this right here I got is strictly something for defense. If I walk around the woods with a buddy of mine or something, or if I'm walking alone, just like I said, coasting through the woods, mostly private property, I usually grab this with some double-aught buck and whatever sidearm that I choose, just for kind of, like I said, kind of cruising around the woods. And like I said, it's a pump action shotgun. They're quick. This sort of Milsurp 500 design, it's been proven. It's a great action. One of the things I like about the Milsurp a little bit more than the Remington 870, although I'm not going to say the Remington 870 is a bad gun, is the fact that when you're loading shells in this, there is no that lifter to push out of the way. I can't tell you how many times with shotguns like that have the elevator, the lifter, you push out of the way. I've had gloves snagging them. Although you can have gloves snagging this too on the shell stop and whatnot. It doesn't usually happen. I just like dropping them in there. And really what this action kind of reminds me of is like the Ithaca 37, only it's a side eject, not the under eject like the Ithaca 37 is. I had one of those. I wish I'd never sold it. So yeah, that's my other choice for, like I said, defending myself. Now sidearm, I had to really think about this one because I'm a big fan of my Taurus PT92 and 9mm, 17 rounds, and I usually carry something like 124 grain hollow points in it for defending myself. That's mostly an open carry gun for me in the woods. So, and then I thought, well, maybe not. I mean, these are going to be some big cryptids, big animals that, you know, you're going to encounter. And I decided to just go with my Smith & Wesson 686-6 and 357 Magnum. 6-inch barrel, stainless. This is the 6-round version, not the 7-round version. I think that's the 686 Plus. And these are some conversion rosewood grips that I got off eBay. I think they were made in Thailand because I wanted that classic target grip look. Couldn't afford a Python at the time, so I went with this, which was $500-600 cheaper. And I carry this in a Smith & Wesson. It's a B17 like 24 or 34 holster. It's an old basket weave Smith & Wesson duty holster that was for a 4-inch gun. I cut the plug out of it so the 6 fits in it, and I mounted that holster on a Western drop loop belt, so it hangs down at a comfortable position, sort of like if you ever watched The Walking Dead. It sort of hangs down where about Rick's revolver would sit. And 6-inch barrel, 357 Magnum. Like I said, I think that'd be a good backup. I don't have a 44 Magnum. This is the biggest thing I have for a handgun as far as, you know, caliber power. And on my belt I have 3 speed loader pouches mounted. You know, double action or single action. Once again, this is unloaded like everything here. Fast reload because, you know, you get the swing out cylinder. You got speed loaders, you know how to use them. That's a fast reload. This isn't going to be the first thing you're going to be, you know, going for if you're carrying either one of these, you know, the 12 gauge or the 30-06 M1 Garand. Like I said, I'm just thinking big bodied animal, you're going to need something with some power. You know, here in Michigan we also have like the Omer Plains Witchy Wolf, but that's more of like a spirit thing, and I was thinking, well, how do you defend yourself against a ghostly spirit? You know, how would you? Not with guns. And so yeah, that's my choice of a sidearm. It's 357 Magnum, 6-inch barrel, stainless because I mean I like the looks of stainless, but I also like the fact that it's a little bit more weather and rust resistant than just regular blue guns. That's just me. And I have the rubber grips. Maybe that'd be more of a utilitarian thing to put on here for utility is the rubber, but I like the wood. It's just me. So I was thinking, well, if those are the 3 guns, I'm missing something here, and I decided, why not a good knife? So the knife, my favorite knife, is this. This is a K-Bar 121. stainless serrated with some sort of like a ceramic coating on it. It's pretty rust proof. So partially serrated. This is my favorite knife. I like Bowie knives and everything, but years ago I had the 2008 version of Turok, and this was the knife they put in the game, and I had to find out what they modeled that knife after, and it was this. So, I mean, you wouldn't want to get close to any of these. I mean, like the Wahila, that thing is said to supposedly decapitate you if it gets, you know, if you're that close. I don't think you're pulling this or the pistol. You know, but Bigfoot or a Michigan Dogman, like I said, pretty much a werewolf. I don't know if this thing would really come in handy, but I'm a firm believer in the saying, I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. So, K-Bar 121. This was discontinued, I think, well over like 15 years ago by now. You still find them on eBay, but they're pricey. So that's my choice of knife. So yeah, this is just meant to be a lighthearted, fun video. And I honestly was trying to think of, okay, well, what are some guns that I don't have that I would rather have in a situation like that? And honestly, I couldn't really think of anything. I mean, maybe a .44 Magnum revolver. I just think the 357 is going to handle better for faster follow-up shots, especially if you choose the right ammo. You know, that they can be pretty powerful. Same thing with these other two. You know, M1 Garand. Like I said, get a Schuster adjustable gas plug, tune it to that ammo, and all of a sudden you have some pretty lethal hunting rounds in an M1, and you get eight rounds of that. Of course, if you're out deer hunting with an M1, you have to have a 5-round clip, which I have a couple of them. They work great. So then the other situation I was thinking of is, well, if this is what I was going to choose, if I was just walking around the woods and just wanted to be cautious and careful, what would I choose? Like, how do I say this? Let's say you're out hunting. You're just deer hunting. You don't expect to see any of these cryptids that I've labeled or listed here in Michigan. A lot of the guys hunt with something like a bolt-action rifle in .308 or 30-06, or lever-action 30-30. Those are the most popular. With the 30-30, you know, a lot of them, you get like a 6-round tube. You hold 7 rounds. The bolt-actions, you know, 4+1 or 5+1 sometimes. I don't know if I'd want to defend myself with a bolt-action. I think I'd rather have the lever action, but it's a 30-30 and I still want something a little more power. Maybe 35 Remington, 444 Marlin. But in that whole sense, you'd be deer hunting and not really thinking about having to defend yourself. Like I said, my whole thought process was, what if these things just get too close and won't leave you alone and you have no chance of getting out of the way or getting out of there? This is what I want with me. Not really, you know, if you're put into the situation of you see it from afar and you have a chance to get out of there, yeah, get out of there. But if you're, like I said, you get too close, they get too close to you, they sneak up on you, and you have no choice but to just stand your ground, I'm probably going with the M1 first. The shotgun I like for double-out buck, as I've said, and the revolver as a backup. Knife is very, very last resort. Like I said, this was just thrown in there for shits and giggles. So that's my choice. So, Michigan Dogman, Wahila, which is mostly seen in the UP, and Bigfoot. Those are my 3 in Michigan, where I live. So, if I was going to run into one of them, which I've never seen, those are probably one of them that I would see. So I want to know, for those 3 that I've picked, like I said, lighthearted video, what would you choose of just what you already have in your collection to choose from, or maybe also put a pick of the guns that you don't have that you would also pick. So like I said, the links to the other channel in this collab are going to be in the description down below. Once again, the Blind Sniper, Mississippi Milsurp, Joe Morgan, Arisaka Type99, and Geary Gunderson.